Japanese mythology is filled with beauty and elegance, but beneath the surface lies a darker world. One filled with demons, forbidden stories, and mysterious gods that few dare to speak of. Why do some gods demand human sacrifices? What secrets did ancient Japan hide in its sacred texts? And how do these tales connect to modern-day superstitions? Stick with me, because what you're about to hear might change how you see Japanese mythology forever. The god of plagues and human sacrifice. Have you ever heard of Gozu-Tennō? This wrathful deity isn't just a figure of reverence. He's a god that brought terror to ancient Japan. Legend has it that Gozu-Tennō was so feared because he could unleash plagues upon entire villages with a single breath. But here's where the story takes a chilling turn. To appease him, people were sometimes forced to make sacrifices. And no, we're not just talking about food or treasure. There are whispers of human sacrifices being offered to keep his wrath at bay. Could it be that some of these rituals still influence Japan's most sacred festivals? And why does Gozu-Tennō bear such a striking resemblance to the Hindu god Shiva? The connection between these two gods raises questions about the true origins of Japan's mythology. Is it possible that the stories we know today were influenced by something far older and more mysterious? Yurei, ghosts that can kill. When you think of ghosts, you might imagine harmless apparitions. But in Japanese mythology, Yurei are far from harmless. They are vengeful spirits with the power to curse, harm, and even kill. The most famous example? Oiwa, the ghost of a betrayed woman whose story has been haunting Japan for centuries. Oiwa's tale is terrifying. Poisoned by her unfaithful husband, her face became so disfigured that she could no longer recognize herself. After her death, her vengeful spirit drove her husband mad, causing his ultimate demise. To this day, performers of the kabuki play based on her story often visit her shrine to ask for her blessing, terrified that her curse might follow them if they don't. But here's the creepy part. Many believe that Yurei aren't just stories. There are modern reports of strange encounters in abandoned villages and cursed objects. Could these spirits still be lurking, waiting for someone to disturb their rest? Kitsune, the shape-shifting foxes. Foxes are cute, right? Not in Japanese mythology. Kitsune, or fox spirits, are known for their cunning and magical abilities, and not all of them are friendly. Some legends describe them as tricksters who manipulate humans for their own amusement, while others tell of kitsune that possess people, driving them insane. But did you know there are secret signs to identify a kitsune in disguise? For example, they can't fully hide their tails, and they avoid mirrors, as their true form might be revealed. The deeper question is, why were these legends created? Some historians believe that kitsune tales were warnings against trusting strangers, or perhaps even a way to explain strange illnesses or unusual behavior in ancient times. And here's a fun fact. Some people in modern Japan still leave offerings for kitsune at Shinto shrines, just in case. After all, who wants to risk angering a mischievous fox spirit? The forbidden tale of Izanami's death. The story of Izanami, the goddess of creation, is one of the most haunting in Japanese mythology. After giving birth to the fire god Kagutsuchi, Izanami was burned so severely that she died and descended to Yomi, the land of the dead. Her husband, Izanagi, heartbroken, went to bring her back. But here's the shocking twist. When Izanagi found her, she had already begun to rot, her once beautiful body crawling with maggots. Furious at being seen in such a state, Izanami cursed Izanagi and vowed to kill 1,000 people each day. This story doesn't just end with a tragic curse, it also explains why death exists in the world. But what if there's more to this myth? Some scholars believe that Izanami's transformation into a vengeful goddess mirrors fears about death and the afterlife in ancient Japan. Could this tale reflect how the living dealt with the horrors of disease and decay? Tengu, guardians or monsters. Tengu are one of the most controversial creatures in Japanese mythology. These bird-like beings are often depicted as mountain guardians, but their dark side reveals a more sinister nature. Tengu were once considered demons, known for kidnapping children and corrupting monks who strayed from their path. But here's where things get interesting. Some legends suggest that Tengu were originally human. It's said that those who become consumed by arrogance or greed could transform into these monstrous creatures after death. Could this myth have been a way to keep people in line, warning them of the consequences of hubris? And yet, Tengu are also revered as protectors of sacred places. Why would a demon be worshipped? It seems that the dual nature of Tengu reflects humanity's struggle to reconcile good and evil within ourselves. Tsuchigumo, The spider monsters. Arachnophobes. Beware. Tsuchigumo, or ground spiders, are terrifying creatures in Japanese mythology that were said to lurk in caves and forests, waiting to ambush unsuspecting travelers. These giant spiders could shapeshift into beautiful women to lure their prey, only revealing their monstrous forms at the last moment. But here's a twist. Tsuchigumo weren't always spiders. Some scholars believe the term originally referred to indigenous tribes that resisted the Yamato rulers in ancient Japan. Over time, these rebellious groups may have been demonized in stories, turning them into monstrous villains. This raises an unsettling question. How many other mythical creatures might have started as real people, demonized by those in power? Amaterasu's vanishing act. Amaterasu, the sun goddess, is one of the most important deities in Japanese mythology. But even she has a dark chapter. One of the most famous myths tells of a time when Amaterasu, angered by her brother Susanu's violent behavior, hid herself in a cave, plunging the world into darkness. The gods, desperate to bring her back, performed a lewd dance to make her laugh, finally coaxing her out of hiding. But what's rarely discussed is the deeper meaning of this tale. Some believe it represents the balance between light and dark, life and death. Others think it may have origins in ancient rituals to ensure a good harvest. Could Amaterasu's story reveal hidden truths about how the Japanese people survived harsh winters or celebrated the return of spring? The curse of Hoichi the Earless. One of the eeriest tales in Japanese mythology is that of Hoichi, a blind musician who performed songs about a great battle. One night, he was summoned to perform for what he thought was a noble audience. But in reality, he had been singing to ghosts. To protect him, priests covered Hoichi's body in sacred sutras, except for his ears, which they forgot. When the spirits returned, they ripped his ears off as punishment. The moral of the story? Always follow rituals to the letter. But could this tale have been a way to enforce religious obedience in ancient Japan? And how much of Hoichi's story is rooted in truth? Some believe it may have been inspired by real hauntings or unexplained phenomena. From vengeful ghosts to shape-shifting foxes, Japanese mythology holds secrets that continue to fascinate and terrify. Which of these stories shocked you the most? Let me know in the comments, and if you want to uncover even more forbidden tales, hit that subscribe button and join me on this journey into the unknown.